Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Welcome to Word Englishes. Our today's topic is global spread of English. Word Englishes is a term for emerging localized or indigenized varieties of English, especially varieties that have developed in territories which are influenced by the United Kingdom or the United States. The study of word Englishes consists of identifying varieties of English used in diverse socio-linguistic contexts globally and analyzing how socio-linguistic histories, multicultural backgrounds, and contexts of function influence the use of English in different regions of the world. So this is the area of study of word Englishes that it identifies the varieties of English used in diverse and different socio-linguistic contexts globally and analyzes how socio-linguistic histories, multicultural backgrounds, and contexts of function influence the use of English language in different parts of the world. The issue of word Englishes was first raised in 1978 to examine concepts of regional Englishes globally. So, to examine what are the concepts of regional Englishes globally? To examine this concept, so the word Englishes issue was raised first time in 1978. Pragmatic factors like appropriateness, comprehensibility, and interpretability justify the use of English as an international and intranational language. So, pragmatic factors, they justified that English can be used because it's appropriate in that context and it's understood by the communicators and it can be interpreted in that context. So this was the use of English was justified to be used as international and intranational language. In 1988, at a TESOL conference in Honolulu, it's a place city of Hawaii, the International Committee of Study of Word Englishes was formed, and this committee, ICWE, International Committee of the Study of Word English, in 1992 it formally launched the International Association for Word Englishes at a conference of Word Englishes today at the University of Illinois, USA. There is now an academic journal devoted to the study of this topic, the topic of word Englishes, and it's the name of this journal is Word Englishes as well. So what are the total number of Englishes in the world? So currently, this is a difficult question to answer actually. Anyway, currently there are approximately 75 territories, 75 countries, let's say, or parts of the world where English language, English is spoken either as a first language or as an official or institutionalized second language in fields such as government, law, and education. So there are 75 territories in the world at the moment where English is spoken or used as first language or as a second language. But as I said before, it's difficult to establish the total number of Englishes in the world because new varieties of English are constantly being developed and discovered. So there are always, the language is evolving, and there are always some new varieties of English language. So they are developed and they are discovered, so it's difficult to establish one fixed total number of Englishes in the world. Even this is the case with all languages, even not only English, but this is the case with all languages. Then you cannot fix exact number of languages in the world, because some languages are dying and some languages are emerging, new languages. So this is always, there is flexibility. It's always an open field, open point. So let's see here, there are three different terms you can see on the heading: word English, word Englishes, and global Englishes. The notions of word English and word Englishes are not the same. So although there is a difference of just singular and plural with English, word English and word English, they are not similar, although the term are often mistakenly used interchangeably. So sometimes it's used, word English is used for word Englishes, and word English is used for word Englishes is used for word English, but this is not correct. So let's see what how different they are from each other. Word English refers to the English language as a lingua franca, used in business, trade, diplomacy, and other spheres of global activity. So this is word English, the singular one. So it refers to the English language as a lingua franca that is used in different fields of life. While word Englishes refers to the different varieties of English and English-based carols developed in different regions of the world. So here, a word Englishes refers to different varieties of English language in the world. So here, word English, this is it refers to the English language as a lingua franca, but word English, it refers to the varieties in English language. So about the third one, the global Englishes. Here we have global Englishes. The term global Englishes has been used by scholars in the field to emphasize the more recent spread of English due to globalization, which has resulted in increased usage of English as a lingua franca. So here, global Englishes, it has been used by scholars in the field to emphasize the more recent spread. So the more recent spread of English due to globalization, because the now word is has turned into a global village. So and the spread of English due to globalization is also increased, and usage of English as a lingua franca has also, the circle of usage of English language has also increased. So global Englishes, it refers to emphasize the more recent spread of English due to globalization. So historical context, you will have just an eye on, just a look on the historical context of English. English is a West Germanic language. So in Germanic language, these are there are many list of language. You can see this it's easily available in the languages that are spoken in mostly in Europe. English, like Dutch, German, and many other languages are there. So English is also part of that language family that originated from the Anglo-Frisian dialects brought by Germanic invaders into Britain. Initially, Old English was a diverse group of dialects. So Old English was not one dialect, remember. So initially it was a diverse group of dialects, many group of dialects, uh, which reflected the varied origins of the Anglo-Saxon kingdoms of England. So there were many kingdoms inside England, and all these different dialects, they reflected uh, all those Anglo-Saxon kingdoms in England. And as a result, one of those dialects became dominant, and the name of that dialect is Late West Saxon. So this dialect came to dominate, so it became the dominant in Old English. The original Old English language was then influenced by two further waves of invasion. So, original Old English, it was influenced two further invasions. First, not only when the dialect that we talked, further it was influenced by two waves of invasion. The first one by speakers of Scandinavian branch of the Germanic language family, who conquered and colonized parts of Britain in the 8th and 9th century. So this is the first one, first invasion that influenced the Old English language. And the second by Normans in the 11th century, who spoke Old Norman and ultimately developed a Norman variety that is called Anglo-Norman. So this is the second wave of invasion. This is the second invasion that influenced the Old English language. After the Norman conquest, for 2 centuries, French became the language of everyday life among the upper classes in England. So that's a strange thing, actually, that in England the French language became the language of everyday life of the people of upper class in England, of rich people. Though the language of the masses remained English, the common people, the masses, they still spoke English, but with the arrival of French, the bilingual character of England in that period was formed. So England was also a bilingual country, remember, once upon a time. During the Middle English period, France and England experienced a process of separation. And this period of conflicting interests and feelings of resentment was later termed the 100 Years' War. And by the beginning of the 14th century, English had regained universal use and become the principal tongue of all England. So again in 14th century, by the beginning of 14th century, so English regained the universal use as the universal status of usage and become the principal tongue of all England, but not without having undergone significant change. But it became the principal tongue, the main language of all England, but there were so many. It had accepted so many changes into it. I mean, the English language was not the same as it was before. So there were so many changes, and so many maybe borrowed words, borrowed vocabulary from other. I mean, it was influenced by many things. During the Renaissance, patriotic feelings regarding English brought about the recognition of English as the national language of England. So during the Renaissance period, so patriotic feelings regarding English, so it brought about the recognition of English as the national language of England. And English was recognized as the national language of England. So the language was educated as acceptable for learned and literacy use. With the great vowel shift, the language in this period matured to a standard and differed significantly from the Middle English period, becoming recognizably modern. So this is also a shift. I think we have talked in RP lecture about vowel shift. With that shift, with that phase, the language in this period matured to a standard and differed significantly from the Middle English period, and now it is recognized as modern language. By the 18th century, three main forces were driving the direction of the English language. Number one, to reduce the language to rule and effect a standard of correct usage. So to reduce the language to rule, so language should be used as per the rules and effect a standard of correct, these are to establish standard of correct usage, and to refine the language by removing supposed defects and introducing certain improvements. To the language should be refined. These were some three forces, some directions, some objectives. To for the improvement of language by the 18th century. That language should be, the supposed defects in language should be removed, and certain improvements should be introduced. And number three, to fix English permanently in the desired form. So this desire for system and regularity in the language contrasted with the individualism and spirit of independence characterized by the previous age. Like in previous age, language was dependent on individuals, and they could use language as per their own choice, but here the measures were taken or proposed to regularize the language. So that was against the spirit of independence that was characterized by the previous age. By the 19th century, the expansion of the British Empire as well as global trade had led to spread of English around the world. Two things here you can see, the expansion of British Empire and business. So these two were the causes or factors for the spread of English around the world. The rising importance of some of England's larger colonies and former colonies, such as the rapidly developing United States, enhanced the value of English varieties spoken in these regions, encouraging the belief among the local populations that their distinct varieties of English should be granted equal standing with the standard of Great Britain. So because of the importance of some of England's larger colonies and former colonies like USA, the value of English varieties spoken in those colonies and those areas was enhanced, and people, the local populations in those regions were encouraged, and they encouraged towards the belief that their distinct varieties of English should also be granted equal standing. They should be recognized. Their English varieties, their dialects, their languages, English languages should also be recognized equal to the standard of Great Britain. So global spread of English, we will see here. The first dispersal, English is transported to the New World. The first diaspora, the immigration, migration from homeland to the other parts of the world, so is diaspora. The first diaspora involved relatively large scale migrations of mother tongue English speakers from many countries, including England, Scotland, Ireland, to North America and the Caribbean, Australia, South Africa, and New Zealand. So over time, their own English dialects developed into modern American, Canadian, West Indian, South African, Australian, and New Zealand Englishes. So the people, they migrated from England to different parts of the world, and their own English dialects they developed or changed into new dialects, which are known modern American, Canadian English, West Indian English, South African English, or Australian and New Zealand Englishes. In contrast to English of Great Britain, the varieties spoken in the modern North America and Caribbean, South Africa, Australia, and New Zealand have been modified in response to the changed and changing socio-linguistic context of the migrants. For example, being in contact with indigenous Native American, Khoisan and Bantu, Aboriginal or Maori populations in the colonies. The second diaspora was the result of the colonization of Asia and Africa. So this is the second diaspora. So that is the result of the colonization of Asia and Africa, which led to the development of new Englishes, the second language varieties of English. New Englishes means the second language varieties of English. In colonial Africa, the history of English is distinct between West and East Africa. English in West Africa began with trade, particularly the slave trade. English soon gained official status in the countries that are today known as Gambia, Sierra Leone, Ghana, Nigeria, and Cameroon, and some of the Pidgin and Creoles which developed from English contact, including Creole in Sierra Leone and Cameroon Pidgin, have large numbers of speakers now. As far as East Africa, extensive British settlements were established in countries Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Malawi, Zambia, and Zimbabwe, where English became a crucial language of the government, education, and the law. From the early 1960s, the 6 countries achieved independence. These 6 countries that we mentioned, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Malawi, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. So they achieved independence in succession, but English remained the official language and had large numbers of second language speakers in Uganda, Zambia, Zimbabwe, and Malawi, along with Shua. This is also a proper name, Shua or Shiva. English was formally introduced to the subcontinent of South Asia. Uh, we are at home now, and in India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Nepal, and Bhutan, they are the countries of subcontinent during the second half of the 18th century. So English was formally introduced to subcontinent during the second half of the 18th century. In India, English was given status through the implementation of Macaulay Minute of 1835, which proposed the introduction of an English educational system in India. Over time, the process of Indianization led to the development of a distinctive national character of English in the Indian subcontinent. British influence in Southeast Asia and the South Pacific began in the late 18th century, involving primarily the territories known as Singapore, Malaysia, and Hong Kong. Papua New Guinea, also a British protectorate, exemplified the English-based pidgin tok fishing. The Americans came late in Southeast Asia, but their influence spread like wildfire as their reforms on education in the Philippines progressed in their less than half a century colonization of the island. English has been taught since the American period and is one of the official languages of the Philippines. Ever since English became the official language, a localized variety gradually emerged, Philippine English, and lately linguist Wilkinson Daniel von Gonzales argued that this variety has in itself more varieties, suggesting that we move towards Philippine English's paradigm to progress further in the Schneider's dynamic model after gathering evidences of such happening. So here, one of the linguists he argued that Philippine English is moving towards Philippine English's paradigm, and he's going to collect some evidences. Nowadays, English is also learned in other countries in the neighboring countries, neighboring areas of Philippines, most notably in Taiwan, Japan, and Korea, with the latter two having begun to consider the possibility of making English their official second language. When the Japan and Korea, they are planning to make English their official second language. The spread of English around the world is discussed in terms of three distinct groups of users, where English is used respectively as a native language or second language or foreign language. A native language, where the language is English is used as the primary language of majority population of a country, such as in the United States and the United Kingdom and Australia, New Zealand, Ireland, and other English speaking countries. As second language, English language is used as an additional language in those countries for intranational as well as international communication in communities that are multilingual, such as in Pakistan, India, Nigeria, and Singapore. Intranational use of language means the language second language, that language that is used as second language, that is used within the country also. When the people of those country they use that language for communication with each other also, and with the people of other countries they use it as intranational and as well as international way of communication. Most of these Englishes in English, the use of English as second language, most of these Englishes developed as a result of imperial expansion that brought the language to various parts of the world, the imperial expansion of the British Empire. So that is because of that. And the last one, as a foreign language, language is used almost exclusively for international communication, such as in Japan. So as a foreign language, so the difference between second and foreign language is this, that second language can be used or is used as both for both purposes, for intranational use and international use, but foreign language used only for international communication, not for intranational communication. We have this English as used as foreign language in Japan, and maybe we can say in Chinese language, maybe a foreign language for us in Pakistan, because people do not use Chinese for international communication. They use it only for international communication with Chinese people. And here is your assignment. So you write a note on the global spread of English language in your own words. So what I want to see here, I mean, you understand the topic and you can you use your own words. So when you use your own words, it shows that I mean, how do you see this topic? I mean, how do you understand this topic? It shows your understanding of the concepts discussed in the lecture. Thank you very much. I hope you like these flowers as well. So this is a new picture, the first time I think I used in lectures. All the best. See you next lecture, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.